All right, so we're going to start looking at factoring with GCF to begin with. One of the biggest things I can tell you about factoring is to know your multiplication facts. They are what makes everything easier. So I'm going to show you on this multiplication chart how you can use this as a resource, but I would encourage you, there are some blank ones of these where there's like pieces missing that you have to fill in, and I would really encourage you to practice using that to help you really learn those multiplication facts. Makes all of this a lot easier, okay? So the numbers that we're looking at in the first problem, and I'm just going to put them here so we can look at them first on here and then we'll apply them, are 24, 54, and 36. So if you needed to use your multiplication table, I would go through and look for these numbers to see which numbers created them. So I know that 24 is made up of 4 times 6. I also know that it is made up of 8 times 3. Okay, 54 we can find on here. 54 is 9 times 6, and right away we already have something that matches there. They both have a 6. So then I just need to find, does that maybe also happen with 36? So I can actually look through the row of 6 to see if I find 36, which I absolutely do, because it's 6 times 6. So these all have the number 6 in common, which means that's going to be my GCF, or at least it's going to be the first piece that I check for. Okay, so let's look at our. So for this, those are our numbers that we were just looking at, the 24, the 54, and the 36. And because we know that 6 goes into every single one of these numbers, we're going to divide each of them by 6. And I want you to take special note that we have a negative in the front. Whenever you have a negative in the front, I want you to get into the habit of dividing out the negative as well. So our GCF for this first problem is negative 6. So I'm going to write that negative 6 down, and then I'm going to open up a parentheses. And I'm going to do each of these pieces of division. Negative 24 divided by negative 6 is going to give me a positive 4, and that x to the third comes down with it. 54x divided by negative 6, it's a positive divided by a negative, so it's going to switch to a negative, and it's going to leave me with 9x. And then negative 36 divided by a negative 6, negative divided by a negative is a positive, and 36 divided by 6 is a 6. And then I just want you to do another little check. Look at the number 4, 9, and 6, and see if maybe there's another number we could take out. And if there was, that would mean that we just have another layer of this to do, and we didn't pick the biggest number we could the first time. But these do not share anything, because 4 is 2 and 2, 9 is 3 and 3. Right away we don't have anything that matches. Okay, so you know you're good for that problem. And you can check your answer by distributing. Factoring is kind of undistributing, even though that's not really a word. That's what we can think of it as. You could be able to distribute this back and get to where you started here. Okay? So if just the number is a GCF, make sure you look at the other examples as well, because we're going to walk through a couple different situations that you can run into.